Hi, it's Hazel. Welcome to my channel, Hazel and Aka Design. I'm so glad to have you here. Thank you for taking some time to spend it with me. After the marathon baby book making session that I've been doing lately, I needed a diversion. I needed something different, and I was meandering around my room here, my art space, thinking. Well, I didn't know what I was thinking. I was just kind of rearranging things. You know, it's a never-ending job or challenge to try to figure out a better way to store things and house things. And in the process, we really should, put in our calendars that we should do treasure hunts within our own space, because I would bet my bottom dollar that you, like me, are surprised by what, or could be surprised by what you might find, what you have forgotten that you bought or created or started. And so that, and I'll just set this aside for a moment, that little excursion, I was putting something in my filing cabinet, and I have two, are they both legal size? I can't remember. Anyway, two 4-drawer metal filing cabinets, the kind you find in offices, and they are packed. I think file folders are a good way to organize some things if you remember to go there and look for them. Like in the one, the one I can see, the one that's not in the closet, I've got 3 jam-packed drawers of signatures. Some of them are just dyed papers and nothing more that I've just folded in half. Some are obviously things I've sewn on or whatever. So in one of the filing drawers, I found something called stamped papers. And I thought, oh, look at that. I must have wanted to do something like this before. I must have done these at some point. And I'll just do a little quick flip through, and you can see that these were obviously this is like a stamp off page that I had done when I was working on previous baby journals. And this this in itself, collage fodder or whatever. This is a page of do-it-yourself business cards. You probably can't see the perforations there, but so there is the border, and I just did butterfly after butterfly, and then the actual business card, like from there to there, so on. So I must have thought that was very brilliant. Here are some faces and funky hairdos that I have. Here, I guess I began going beyond where the perforations are. So obviously I need to do something with that. More stamp off pages, and you can see that I have obviously ripped out some parts and used them. I must have been, this is feminine ladies, perfume bottles, purses. I'm assuming that I used some of these images in my women journals. Again, I don't need to explain every single thing. I love, love, love these. How did I do it? I think that in this case, you can see that I had laid some color down, probably on some colored cardstock, and then just used a variety of inks on top of a variety of inks and a variety of stamps on top of it. I love this one because it has the colors for one thing, but it has a compass. And I think that compasses to me, are a little bit like clocks, in that they are so symbolic and so so deep, because most of us are searching for our true north, and of course with time is ticking, you know, carpe diem, seize the moment or seize the day. So this is another one that I like. Oh, and then this, well, maybe I'll do these last. This is just a little ornate one that I've obviously done on buff colored paper, so that could very easily be folded up. And in fact, why don't I do that? Fold it up and used, oh, you know what? I shouldn't fold it up. That's what I do. I try to jump ahead and fold things into signature pages, but maybe sometimes it's good to leave them flat, run them through a printer, and print a digital image on the other side. So I'll leave that one intact, and but I'm pulling it out because I'm going to do this. Same thing with this paisley. Shouldn't this be in a boho journal? Same thing with this one, and this is done on pink. And again, I must have been trying out my ombre stamp pads. That gives it a whole new look as well. So this is already done on both sides. So this I can fold and add this to my my very tiny supply of signature pages. Okay, let's put that over there. I love this stamp, and this again is business card. So, well, why don't I just do it? Because my whole point here today was to prove to you, or maybe myself, that a person can do these things, but they really don't advance you a great deal in your space, or in your business, your pursuit, your art journey, if you don't, you know, buckle down and use them. So look at there. There's a birch tree. Where's the, oh, there is no perforation because this is the end piece. So now I have a strip. So instead of one sheet, I'm going to end up with all of this stuff. But again, wouldn't that be, that could be page edging. That's just as beautiful as, you know, the branding strip you get on a scrap of paper, on a scrapbooking paper. And of course, I'm not going to do this with every page. I'm just going to, so these could be the start of ATCs. They could be the start of journaling cards. And it gives a person something, some new base to begin embellishing. What's going on here now? Okay, the fold is there. Now this is, obviously this is more unusual a combination. So this is going to need more thought to make something cohesive out of that. And these, let's do that as well. I don't think I would want to use perforated paper as is in a journal. But couldn't, let's just pretend this was a page. Wait, how did this go? Oh, this was the top. A person could glue this down like so, and already it looks like, oh my God, the woman's a genius. So there's that. Okay, this I obviously stamped some of these sentiments on a book page that I had gessoed. Oh, this, obviously I have my own stamps, is one of those desk calendar pad type, oh my God, 2010 desk calendar pad types things, which are great, frankly, to protecting your work surface. In this case, I obviously picked it and deliberately stamped on it. I mean, you can see that these are some of the Tim Holtz ones, probably new to me well, not in 2010, but new, and I was trying them out. So this, because these are repetitive images, well, again, let's start using it. Use it, don't store it. Isn't that my buzzword? Now I'll just make that first rip to show you that, hey, I'm going to do it. I will not waste your time, though, doing it on all the others. So I will put this one aside for more action. Now this is the same sort of thing, another calendar page, and it's just, somehow I have this affinity for jigsaw pieces, or jigsaw, well, I like jigsaw puzzles. I have many, did many, of course, during the initial lockdown of COVID. I don't mean to brag, but I put together a puzzle in one day when the box said 2 to 4 years. Oh my goodness. Okay, so clearly the stamp set had individual puzzle pieces, group puzzle pieces, and words. So this too, I have them going in either direction. So we are going to turn this into a journal page, and this into a journal page, and there you have it. Same, okay, you can see what's coming. Same thing, and in this case I've just gone, I love gears, so this could easily be, you know, like in a steampunk journal or something, and with just sort of a border around. Now, I suppose if I'd have known what I was, the ultimate purpose, a person could have also stamped down the middle and then the border would be all around. But I could always, you know, reconstruct that. Reconstruct the crime scene, as it were. This is obviously a stamp off page, again, with a lot of florals and birds. This one, again, there's beauty in this to me just because of the colors. So I'm going to leave this as a background page to print on. I can't very well do that here because I have a hunk missing. More individual images that should be separated and used. Same thing. I remember when I was in search of my first postal or cancellation type stamps, I was turning over I was leaving no stone unturned to try to get them. Then I do all this stamping, and have I bothered to use them? And that would be a hard no. Maybe this, again, because of the dirtiness and the roughness of it, maybe this turns into a page edging. Maybe these get used up as collage fodder if I either want that sort of a background image. And in fact, yes, let's do that. We'll keep the postal things separate. Again, probably not that useful doing postal cancellation stamps on a paper because you can do that straight on the. So this will be a collage fodder thing. And I think we made, oh, I didn't show you this part. Oi, oi, oi. Oi, oi, oi. That's a good Ukrainian expression of frustration. Yoy, yoy, yoy. Okay, in this batch, I have printed on, who knows, tissue paper. Look at those bear tracks, and other little tracks, and other little tracks. Oh, maybe it would be easier for you to see something if I wasn't showing it to you again. Oh, well, this is hard to see, but there's a squirrel, a fox, and a squirrel. Oh, maybe it would be better if I showed it against this blue paper. Love poppies. I should put this, my poppy stuff. Birch trees. Again, should this not be used on, I think this is tissue paper. I think it's too thin to be parchment paper. You know, like baking parchment. Again, that favorite stamp. It looks like this is the right size. Favorite stamp, different color. Oh, look at that beautiful wheat. Why is this not in my ag? Where I have my farm journal stuff. Move that. Look at those fruits. And borders. Collage fodder, man. Or master book. Master board. Ladies. This is separator paper for hamburger patties. Oh, there's another gal. Here's that favorite stamp again. And this must be worn lipstick. It almost looks, what is it almost? It almost looks like embossing or something. But it's probably just the nature of the ink that it sat on the surface like that. Collage fodder. Use that. I did these, like I have these wildlife images. Not the greatest stamping, I must say, but some squirrels and owls and foxes. And more ladies on tissue paper. So, again, what's this? Oh, lipstick. If a person doesn't remember to look at where some of these things are being stored, then all this, the investment in the stamps, the paper, the ink, the effort is all wasted. So I will be pulling this out very soon. I have a hankering to do some work in my art journal. So that would be a good place to use some of this stuff up. Let's put it at the front of the file and get rid of this and get on to what, well, I mean, the purpose of today's video was basically to say it doesn't do any good to do all this stamping and stenciling if you don't actually use the stuff. So I think I've proven that I'm going to be using it, or I'm going to put it in a place that makes sense in terms of like project boxes or something. So put the wheat with the farming. Okay, so I said that I got new and thrifted stamps. Now, why am I doing this? Well, I have one of those metal, a metal storage cabinet. I bought it probably 25 years ago. It's got doors on it. It's got adjustable shelves. It's very sturdy. It's deep. And over the course of the years, I've used it for many things. Anyway, right now, because of the sheer weight of what this is, the whole bottom of it, and I'd say it's 32 inches wide, or I don't think it's 3 feet, but somewhere between 32 and 36 inches wide. I've got two gigantic bins, and I'm talking, 12 inches deep, that are full of papers, ledgers, specialty papers that I intend to dye at some point. And I found this in there. So it's a pad of 25-pound tracing paper. So I thought I was pulling out one sheet. Turned out I pulled out two. But I wanted to show you this, and obviously I paid $1.99. Pro Art is the brand. So that is what is giving us this effect. Not as translucent as some things, but definitely a really nice result, I would say. Now, the other thing to remember with this, so on here I have used a variety of, excuse me, I'll pull this out and show you how I store that. These are all the distress oxides that I have. Well, that's not true. I have 2 over there that are dead and need some re-inkers. This fits in a drawer right here. I mean, yeah, in a drawer, in a thing right to my left here. And I keep them stored upside down because, now it's not ideal. I don't scratch that. I did, well, not that one, of course. I did at some point write the name, Evergreen Bough, on all 4 sides. Because I have, without paying an arm and a leg, I have tried to figure out a way to store these things that are accessible, that does not involve building a wall around me. I'm happy with the selection of colors I have. Is it the whole thing that's available? Hell no. But I did hear from somebody, you know, because of course I didn't do the whole scrapbooking thing, that it's better to store stamps upside down. So those, okay, so I've used those, whoops, and I've also used my archival ink. And those I store upside down in the center drawer of my teacher's desk. Okay, so what I was going to say is some of these stamped better than others. Like, where is that little guy? This one was poor. It was used. It was a thrifted one. I thought I had left it out here somewhere. I think it probably needs a good cleaning. But we also know that sometimes there are stamps that just don't work very well. So, but the other thing I was going to say, depending on the type of paper that you're stamping on, the ink can just sit on the surface, and you can tell that it, now this is all dried, of course, but initially, like you can see that this candy apple red was took to the stamp beautifully. These were all being used for the first time, these hats. And regardless of the color, but maybe some, you know, between the juiciness of the stamp pad and probably the quality of the stamp, it could be wet. So I guess the thing to remember is kind of be aware of what you're doing. Like you can see I have a blob here. So I either touch it to a stamp pad or a dirty stamp or something. Is that a deal breaker? No, it's not. So we'll put that aside, and I'll just show you some other things that I did. I got this new This is a stencil, and I just used 3 different colors of ink, and this is what I use. These were all the little blending brushes that Dollar Tree used to sell. I prefer this size, to be honest, to this size, but or this side is really quite useless. I bought these every time I saw them. I would buy every single one, and I've never, well, that's not true. I broke one handle once, I think, just from overzealous inking. On many of them, like this, I tied a piece of embroidery floss that would sort of represent what the color might be. So this would be like Rusty Hinge. Oh, that doesn't have it. This would be Wild Honey. But again, as the bristles get stained, it becomes pretty obvious. Now, the one I was using for the browns, you know, vintage photo or whatever, did, like, I actually wore the bristles down to the point that it wasn't doing what it was supposed to be doing anymore. So I replaced that one. But anyway, this is what I did. So for this thing, I was using 3 colors, blueprint sketch, seedless preserves, and what the heck was the other one? Was it teal peacock feathers or something? Anyway, I think it was peacock feathers. So I had 3 brushes going at the same time so that I didn't contaminate my ink pads. So this is cool. Again, it could be collage fodder, or it could be, you know, a signature page and with a piece left over kind of thing. Oh, in those same bins, I also found a guest book that I had obviously taken apart. And luckily, the page, it was sewn in so I could preserve it could remain as a signature. Now, of course, this is wider than normal. These came from a used set and did not stamp particularly well, but good enough. And the stamp set was so, I don't know if dirty is the word or whatever, that I took all the stamps to the kitchen sink and just using dish soap and water, and basically just, you know, finger action, tried to clean them as well as I could, top and bottom, because they were too gross, not too gross, they were too gunked up that they wouldn't stick to the acrylic blocks. So of course that didn't help me any. This is a brand new one. It's got essentially 3 borders, and I just used the same one, and this is, I think, Tattered Rose, and I just did it facing each other at each end of the oh, I should show you this before I forget. I also found this receipt book waiting to be stamped. And this is different in that the colors are different. So I thought, okay, I wanted something like this. So I used my seedless preserves and did that. And then I did the same thing, different corner, although I could have used the same area and it would have given me it would have muddied the colors, perhaps. Well, it would have, because purple and yellow are kind of opposites. But it would also have created a third color. So I kind of stuck on the purple, like on the actual receipt part. I used those colors, and then I used this tree one. If you've ever watched Pam at the Paper Outpost for more than 5 minutes, you probably know that she has a tree stamp, probably bigger than this one. She said that she paid a lot of money for it, but she has gotten years of service out of it and loves it. And this is not the same stamp, but I can see why. It looks abstract there. Again, on yellow, I used that, then that, and blah, 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 you know. So I could do this whole book. And in fact, maybe that should be my mission, should I choose to accept it. So this is obviously the sheet of tracing paper that I accidentally ripped out. I just tore it lengthwise and used sort of this weathered weathered wood kind of stamp. And I used, I think it's called smoke gray, and that's a Ranger's color. Oh, and maybe you're noticing that, and I showed this briefly in a past video. These are the new ones that I wanted to try, so I put them together on a binder ring. Maybe I should. What I have, whoops, creating a wind here. What I have done with the smallest stencils, or maybe the ones that I use most frequently, is I group them. So these are this is I think this is probably a necklace holder. I don't think it's there was a time when in kitchens, you know, you hung your 4 coffee cups on a mug tree. It was called a mug tree. I don't think this was that, but it works like a hot damn for this purpose. This particular one is about, I don't know, 10 inches tall or something from the hook point. So even on these big Martha Stewart ones, considering how, whoops, let me just take it out, that might be easier. Considering how much I love peonies, can you believe that I still have not used this? And there really isn't any surplus here to cut off, because having it a little shorter would make it a little easier. But I didn't. Now, on the ones that didn't have a hole punched in them, I did do that. This idea is not new. I swiped it from Barbara at 49 Dragonflies. But in fairness to me, I had been storing these stencils on rings, on hooks, on a craft card beside me. I was thinking about it. Shouldn't we call those crash cards instead of craft cards? You know, like a crash cart in the hospital. Okay, so I just wanted to show you that in case you're wondering and of course, there is no perfect solution for storing anything. And this is the last one I wanted to show you. Where did I put? Well, I guess you don't really need to see it. I just love these. They're all, well, you can see they're all kitcheny. So there's a scale, a mixer, a cake plate with a thing, a mixing bowl, a dozen eggs, an open window with a pie in it, and some sentiments. Now, you may be able to see that these are perforated. So in the beginning, I started in this corner, and I thought, well, I'll just do a whole bunch of eggs. And then I thought, well, no, spread it around. When I realized, or I remembered, that these, in fact, are some thrifted gummed labels. So I guess, you know, of course, there's no date on anything ever. But it was $2.30, so who knows when that was. No barcode. This would have predated, obviously, stickers. You know, this way you need either a good supply of saliva or you need one of those little wet things. Remember seeing those at the post office or in some offices? It would be a little thing about yay big. It would have a wheel. It would have a cylinder thing inside, and there'd be a puddle of water inside that would keep it wet. So you'd run the thing along there, and it would keep the wheel wet, and it would wet whatever it is that. So, you know, if you needed a few gummed labels and couldn't muster up the saliva, you could use that. So this is essentially useless in its present form. So maybe just to show that I'm actually, let's see, it's not going to tear that easily either. We now have, or will have, I should probably just give everything a quick fold. We will have all of these things that could then be, oh, don't try to fold it that way, kiddo, that could be used as when you're decorating something. A page, a journal card, whatever. See, and this is, I don't know if I'm nuts or what, but this is the kind of thing I do. If I'm committed to doing this, I'm going to rip them all apart, put them in something, a bag, a drawer, a whatever, a box, forget I have them, or spend the rest of my life sorting through them because I chose to tear them all apart instead of leaving the page intact. But you can also see, in my defense, Your Honor, what you can also notice is that if I keep things intact and very neatly stored, say in a file folder, in a filing cabinet, that is no guarantee, and in fact it's almost a certainty that it won't get used. So you can see some of these are going to be better than others. Just randomly throwing them out there. But if there are a couple of colors going on, that in itself adds some interest. Oh, I'll yet do this last one, and then I will probably let you go. I don't think, well, what I did think I was going to do, but I should check the time. Oh, we're at 36 minutes already. That's probably plenty. What I had done was pull out one of my little collage books and think that, oh, if I'm creating some collage fodder, I could probably create a base. So I guess I could do that, or I could stop. Okay. I think that I'm going to stop just to keep the video at a more probably reasonable length. So if I know me, I'm going to put a little clip on this and I will have it. I will use these items, I said. I'll put the 2 things of wheat with the wheat. I have folded up some pages. Oh, I said this was going to be collage, so I'll use that. I'll use that on a masterboard. Oh, this is going to be so beautiful. Let's just for the heck of it, pick something. Do I have one that's kind of just newsprint? Oh, not in this book. Sorry, wrong book. Wrong book. This is that junk journal, July 2023, that I started to, I mean, I would obviously tear around these, but you can see how beautiful that would be. You could see, that's not bad. This is probably better in a sense. That's good too. So of course, anything where I bled the stamp off the edge of the page. Now, of course, with this, now this could very well be tracing paper that came out of the pad. Maybe rather than tearing that pink flower, I will keep these 2 together. Because I've got a straight edge there, then obviously I would, I'd probably start in the corner, and then I have that as my starting point. Then if it's a middle image, I would tear around it. And of course, I would, oh heck, I wrecked the edge. Plunk this down wherever it's needed. But what I was going to say is I would begin by using my Yoo-Hoo glue stick And if there was a problem with adhesion, actually, you know what might be better? No, but that'll be too messy. I was going to say what would be better is putting the glue on here rather than on here. And the fact that this is not perfectly stamped is not going to matter in the long term. Here's another edge piece. So what I find with whether I use art glitter glue or Yoo-Hoo, the edges are where it wants to resist and curl up. So, you know, I guess if you're doing this, be prepared for that. So I'm going to leave this in here as a reminder to do that. And maybe what I should also do, this is on white paper, so I wouldn't be making an extra layer. Okay, let's pull this green book back in. And we know that in a book like this, this would be, oops, I'm just tearing that down so I can close the book and not have it sticking out. This would be glued straight on there because it's thick enough that it's not, the text and the photographs or whatever would not bleed through. So I will stop there. Thanks, guys. Thank you. I hope that if you like the content that you're seeing here, that you consider subscribing. I also very much look forward to and appreciate your comments. I am still playing catch up from my surgical, little hiatus. Remember, print on these. I should just load these in the printer. Maybe I could print an invoice or something on it. I mean, a current thing. Yeah, so I'm still catching up on comments, so please understand that that is happening. So these, I said, were all going to be signature pages, so I'll add that to my filing cabinet. This needs to be ripped up, and that's what I've got to do, so I'm going to let you go so you can do what you've got to do. Thanks, guys. Bye.